about 13 or 14 when this happened. I had been in a really dark place mentally, and I had met this guy through Tumblr. He told me his name was John, and he thought I was really pretty and ran a cool Tumblr. He used pictures of this super generic emo guy, and my teen heart was hooked. We'd talk for days and nights, and at one point, I told him the town I lived in. Because my parents worked late, I'd get home from school and usually be by myself at home, and I'd sit in my living room, which had this big window facing the street. If you looked in, you could see people and the TV and stuff, and I always kept the curtains open for light. So about 2 weeks after John and I were talking, I noticed this white Toyota drive slowly past my house at least once a day, usually right after I got home from school. I also noticed that whenever I was watching something and texting John, he'd find a way to bring the show into the conversation. I didn't think much of it at first, because usually it was shows I reblogged on my page before. This was until I started watching Pretty Little Liars on ABC Family. I hadn't posted or reblogged anything about the show, and then John started bringing it up, and I thought it was really weird. When I asked him about it, he just said I just seemed like the type of girl who watched it, so I dropped the issue. Fast forward 2 weeks, and I'm with some friends at a nearby park. I wasn't having a good day, so we decided to hang out, do some photo shoots or whatever. So we're walking around, and I turned my head, and boom, there it was, that white Toyota. Except it's closer, and I can see the person in it. It's the older guy, maybe in his 20s, just watching us. I got really uncomfortable, but didn't bring it up, and then my friend suggested we go to the playground, which is right next to the parking lot. But at this point, none of my friends knew about the issue, and I wanted to seem cool and calm, so I went along with it. We dicked around on the playground for a bit. I noticed the guy in the white Toyota get out of his car and walk towards us. My middle school brain is trying to rationalize that this can't be the same Toyota that kept sitting outside and driving past my house. And maybe the guy was just watching his kid or something. I wish that were the case. I went over to the water fountain to grab a drink, and the guy comes up to me. He says, "Hi there." I go, "Hi. You're the girl from Tumblr, right?" My blood went ice cold. Yeah. Who are you?" He smiled at me, this really wide grin. "I'm John. I came to see you in person. You told me the town you lived in and how you wish we could meet." I say, "Listen, I gotta get back to my friends." No. Why don't we take a drive? We can go get ice cream." He grabbed my arm at this point. I think one of my friends had noticed because she came up to us, and the John guy released me and started to back up. My friend goes, "Hey Lizzie, Mom said we gotta head home. Dad's home and he had a long day." I nodded along and walked away with her. My whole group of friends were crowding me as we headed back to my house. But then it hit me. How did this guy get my location? How? I then remembered that I exchanged Snapchats with him, but we never really talked on it. but still, my Snap Map was enabled to anyone. He knew what he was doing all along. I never told my parents what happened that day, and none of my friends did either. None of us wanted our tumblers exposed, and we thought we'd get in trouble for what happened, even though I was the only one at risk. When we got home, I blocked John and reported the account, thanking my friends for saving me. It's scary to think what could have happened if they hadn't been there. And I don't think the story would have a happy ending. This started yesterday when me and my cousin got home from a party around 10 p.m. We were sitting in my living room for a while, just watching Netflix, and nothing seemed weird during that time. At one point, I jokingly said to my cousin, "Look behind you," because we always mess with each other like that. Except, she was pretty sure that she saw something move in the window behind her. Not thinking anything of it, I just figured she was trying to scare me back, and pretty much forgot about it. This was until, out of nowhere, my dog jumped up, ran to the front door, and started barking really aggressively. We kept yelling at her to stop, but she didn't leave it alone for at least another 3 minutes. I thought maybe she could have heard a noise from the TV or something that scared her, but the movie we were watching had ended like 30 minutes ago. We were both just sitting in silence on our phones. Keep in mind, this happened around 12 a.m. After this happened, I was kind of nervous and pretty confused, but my dog had done this a few times before. So once again, I tried to just ignore it and not really think too much about it. It was around 1 a.m. when me and my cousin decided to go upstairs and start getting ready to go to sleep. I was laying down on my phone, checking Snapchat, when I decided to open Snap Maps. Then, I saw it. Someone was at my house with me. I started thinking of all the possibilities of who would be that close to me. The guy's name was Sebastian. At this point, I was really confused and starting to get worried because I don't even know a Sebastian and don't even recall adding a Sebastian back. I went back downstairs to check and make sure all of the doors were locked. In my house, we have an alarm system where every time you open a door, it will chime to let you know. For some reason, it was unplugged, meaning if any doors were being opened, whether it be the shed door, backyard gate, or just any door leading to my house, no one in our house would be notified. I asked my cousin if she unplugged it, and she said she didn't even know we had it. I was genuinely worried now, because when I checked Snap Map, it said he was last seen an hour ago. And an hour ago was when my dog started viciously barking at the front door for no reason. The more I thought about everything, the more it seemed connected. But there was really nothing I could do, as I already checked downstairs and locked all of the doors. I actually do have multiple cameras around my house, and I decided I would just check them in the morning because I needed to get the password from my mom anyway. Me and my cousin had been hearing strange things all night. I even thought I heard people talking outside my house around 2 to 3 a.m. But Sebastian wasn't on the snap map anymore, so we both figured he wouldn't be anywhere near us, and like I said, we were just getting paranoid now. It had gotten really late, so we dozed off and fell asleep. However, we were wrong. We finally got the password to check the cameras. We checked the footage from last night around 2 a.m. The camera picked up a figure. The figure looks white, but I think it was actually all black and the camera inverted it, but we really don't know. Here are the photos of the man and screenshots of when I first noticed he was on the map and at my house with me. Nothing really happened after that. Neither of us can figure out what he was doing or trying to do. He just looked like he was walking around. But like I said, we really have no clue what he wants. This whole ordeal has been very stressful and scary for me, my cousin, and the rest of my family. I'm so very shaken up and worried that he may return with worse intentions. A few months ago, I was quick at it on Snapchat by some girl who had a normal looking Bitmoji and was fairly new to Snapchat. Her snap score was only about 400 or 500. I accepted the request since I could always use some more friends and some more streaks, and she almost immediately texted me, despite the request being about 6 hours old when I first saw it. She texted me, "Hey cutie, what's up?" I was a bit confused by this message, as she had never seen a picture of me yet, and Bitmojis aren't necessarily accurate. I just replied, "Hello," and the conversation continued as normal for about 10 to 15 minutes. Eventually, she sent me a picture of herself. I was a little surprised by it, as she looked exactly like one of my girlfriend's friends that I had met on a night out one time. I simply dismissed it as being coincidental. People often have someone who looks similar to themselves. She had requested a picture of me, and I just sent her a simple selfie of myself. Again, she referred to me as being cute, but it wasn't as weird this time because now she had actually seen me. She started flirting with me, even after I brought up how I had a girlfriend. She would say stuff like, "I wish you didn't have a girlfriend. You seem so sweet and cute, and the color of your eyes is making my heart flush." She would even get sexually explicit with some of her compliments. Out of nowhere, she sends me 2 more selfies of her. This time, there were 2 pictures of other women I had only met once or twice in my life. One of them was my girlfriend's other friend, and another one was an old classmate of mine from 8th grade. Assuming it was my girlfriend doing some stupid loyalty test on me, I just said to her, "Nice try, Aurora. You should know after 2 years of dating, I'd never cheat on you." After I said this, she sent me a picture of yet another girl I had hardly knew and said, "Who the hell is Aurora?" Me being freaked out a bit now, I asked who this really was. She got really pissy with me, saying how every new person she meets accuses her of being a catfish because she always looked like somebody they knew. I asked her if she had more pictures of herself, just to see if I'm not losing my mind. She sends me 5 more, each of yet another girl I knew. This time, some of them were a bit closer to me. I asked her where she got the pictures from, and she was still insistent of them being of her and promising she isn't a catfish. After about 10 minutes of me pressuring the catfish into giving herself up, she sent me a heart-chilling snap. It was a picture of the front of my old house where I moved away from about 3 or 4 years ago before this incident. It was taken at the same time of day as this conversation was happening, so I assumed she had taken it at that very moment. I now knew it couldn't be my girlfriend just being creepy, as we weren't dating when I lived there, nor did she even know about me living there. I figured it was a friend of mine just playing some sick prank with an alternative account. But some of the photos they used were of girls that they didn't know about my acquaintances with. She followed up with several pictures of another girl. This time, they weren't just normal selfies or group photos. They were candid shots of nobody other than my girlfriend. Some of them were of her sitting at the stoplights in her car. Others were of her walking into the school we go to. My heart dropped. I blocked the person immediately and phoned my girlfriend to tell her of the situation. She assured me that it wasn't one of her friends or her doing some kind of prank or loyalty test, and that she didn't know somebody had been taking photos of her. I haven't been added by anyone similar of nature or heard from that account ever again. I still have no idea who was actually behind it. My friends that I or Aurora still had contact with have since privated their Instagram accounts, which is where the pictures their account sent me came from. And my girlfriend and I have disabled our Snap Maps to everyone, including our close friends. I still want to believe that this was just some sick prank from one of my best friends or something, and not just some genuinely creepy person who is stalking me and my girlfriend.